Welcome into another episode of Locked On Phillies. The Phils took 2 of 3 in Washington to start the season. What did they show in the opening series? We'll discuss on today's episode.
You are Locked On Phillies, your daily Philadelphia Phillies podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Yes, this is Locked On Phillies. I'm your host, Connor Thomas. Thank you so much for joining us today. We come to you as part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. You may know me from some of my other work in the sports talk space. I've been on air over at 97.5 The Fanatic, doing sports talk radio here in Philadelphia for 5 years now. I've been a credentialed Philadelphia Phillies media member for 4 seasons, and this is my 4th year as the host of Locked On Phillies. Please make sure you're rating and reviewing if you're listening to this in podcast form, if you're checking us out on the YouTube. Hit that subscribe button. It's free. It's easy. It'll get you notifications when new episodes are posted and everything that we post on Locked On Phillies. So we got a lot of news stuff coming out these days with the season going on. You're going to want to be subscribed to the YouTube so you don't miss any bit of it. It really helps us out here on Locked On Phillies. It helps you out to keep up with everything going on with the team. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Right now, new customers can get $200 in bonus bets when your first $5 bet wins. Go ahead and check out our friends over at FanDuel. Now, in today's episode, we're going to recap what the Phillies showed in Washington. 2 games out of 3 won. That's a good thing. They won their first series of the year. That's a positive. They had opportunities in game 3. Didn't get it done. We'll talk about all of it, the ups and the downs. They have another chance starting soon against the Colorado Rockies later today. They have their home opener. So we will talk about the series with Colorado, just a preview from Jump and what Colorado did in their first series of the year. And we also have some early injury updates from the Fightin' Phils. So we'll get into all of that. But let's start with what the Philadelphia Phillies showed down in Washington in their series opening, or well, in their season opening series, I should say. First things first, the offense is going to be just fine. Even today, right? Well, I'm recording this Sunday. You're going to be listening to it Monday. So even Sunday in the series closer where they only scored 1 run, they had opportunities, but they didn't really cash in on a bunch of them. They ended a 5-1 loss with a total of 8 hits. I mean, they had chances. They got on base. They just didn't cash in. And that's going to happen sometimes. And you did it without Trea Turner, and you did it without JT Realmuto, and Max Kepler got a day off, so you're missing 3 of your normal starters. And that's not like, it's okay, but it kind of is, right? Here's the thing with baseball. If you've forgotten over the long offseason, the goal is not to sweep series. The goal is to win series. Sweeping series is a nice byproduct of playing good, consistent baseball. But if you're winning series consistently, you are a really good baseball team. And the Phillies did that. They went down and accomplished what they were supposed to in Washington. They didn't get the cherry on top. That is all right. So they're going to hit. I mean, just look at some of these run totals. I know they had 1 in the final game of the series, but 7 on opening day. 11 on Saturday. They scored a total of 19 runs in this opening series. So right now, the Philadelphia Phillies offense, just do a little bit of quick math here, 19 divided by 3, they are averaging over 6 runs a game. With this pitching staff, they're going to win an unbelievable amount of games if they hit like that. Now, not every team's Washington, and a lot of those runs came late. So you might be asking, well, what's going on with the Phillies' approach? They struck out a bunch on opening day. Do you have worries about their approach, Connor? Because that was one of the biggest questions coming into the season, right? How do you affect that? Well, let's look at the other 2 games of the series and just look at the general box score. In game 2 of the series against Washington, they struck out 5 times. They walked 8. That was an awesome performance. And today, even in the loss, today is in Sunday, you look at the box score and what they were able to do. They struck out 6 times and they walked 4 times. So anyone who looked at game 1 and said their approach still stinks, this team's going to strike out a bunch, they didn't over the last 2 games. Mackenzie Gore is a monster. The shadows were kind of weird on opening day. What we've seen, I think, is actually positive, I would argue, for where their approach is. They're creating walks. They're creating run-scoring opportunities. They're not punching out at the rate that they were on opening day, or at least they didn't. And now, small sample size, right? I'm not here to tell you, the Phillies' approach is fixed. You don't have anything to worry about. That's not the point. But my point is, if you look at it and you say they're chasing, they're not chasing. They've been, over the first 3 games of the season, aggressive in the zone And they have been conservative outside of the zone. I think they've had some guys do a really nice job laying off pitches. Nick Castellanos has been on base a couple of times. He hasn't really been hitting the ball, but he's been finding his way on. He's being more patient. Bryson Stott has kind of settled in a little bit to some more patience that we didn't see from him last year. After opening day, he looked rough. Game 2 and 3 looked better. You're seeing positive things out of the Phillies. And basically what you're seeing is what we all should have already known. They're a really good baseball team. Like, they're a consistently run-producing pitching machine, right? They're going to be just fine. Now, there have been some rough spots. I'm going to be excited to see what Jordan Romano looks like when he gets his next opportunity, because his debut was rough. I'm going to be excited to see what Aaron Nola does his next time out on the mound, because he gave up 2 bombs, one of them in the 4th inning. Listen, I'll just say this right now. The Toyota Rab 4th inning, right? They do the promotion. They sponsor the 4th inning on NBC Sports Philadelphia's TV broadcast of the game. It is a nightmare for Aaron Nola. It always is. It always will be. The guy could be a Hall of Fame pitcher, and he would still just not be able to get through like the 4th inning against the Miami Marlins. And then it'll be just fine after. Now, he gave up 2 bombs today. Josh Bell went yard. Nathaniel Lowe went yard. So Nola with the long ball, that's something that he's going to have to work on. That's definitely something that we'll be watching going forward. But ultimately, we know that he's going to give you starts where he gives up the long ball. He's going to give you starts where he's dominant. That's Nola. If he keeps doing that, well, you got Christopher Sanchez to make up for it. You got Jesus Luzardo to make up for it. You've got Zach Wheeler to make up for it. When Ranger Suarez comes back, he'll make up for it. When Andrew Painter comes up, he'll make up for it. Like, if you're freaking out, wringing your hands over Aaron Nola's performance today, 1, was this your first time watching Aaron Nola pitch? He's done this before. But 2, slow your roll. It's just his first start of the year. He's going to be just fine. He's a vet. We know what Aaron Nola's seasons turn into. Like, we know how his seasons work out as he goes through the year and settles in more. So I don't really have any major concerns on the Philadelphia Phillies. They showed that they're a damn good baseball team, that they're going to pitch, that they're going to hit, that they're going to field enough, and that the bullpen is going to do a solid enough job, like so far. That's what we've seen from the Philadelphia Phillies in a 3-game sample size. And what we've also seen, I talked to you about it before the season started. I said, how you play the Washington Nationals is going to be the determining factor, is what I called it, in the National League East. Beating Washington in series, there are going to be series where the Braves lose a series to the Washington Nationals, the Mets lose a series to the Washington Nationals. I'm telling you it's going to happen. The Phillies, they took care of business. That's all you got to do, man. You just look at the division standings right now in the National League East. And the Philadelphia Phillies, well, they're in a situation where they're pretty darn good through 3 games. Now, the Marlins are 3-1, which is kind of wild, but then easy opening series. Phils are 2-1. They're in second place. Mets are 1-2. Nationals are 1-2. The Braves have started out the season 0-3. The Braves got swept, well, not swept because they're playing a 4-game series, but they lost their first 3 games of the year to the San Diego Padres, who look good, man. The NL West, that's going to be a heck of a division. But you have to have a little perspective, right? The Mets, they faced the Houston Astros, and they lost 2 of 3. The Nationals obviously got smoked by you, and the Marlins, don't put any stock into that. They were playing the Pirates, and the Pirates are not that good. So those 4 games that they went 3-1 in, whatever. Don't even worry about it. You're going to beat the Marlins when you get a chance to play the Marlins. But what you learned about the Philadelphia Phillies is they are the baseball team we should have thought they were all offseason. They're going to have games where they get hits and they don't cash in, but that's baseball. The long ball was a big part of their success. Schwarber's got a couple of home runs. Stott went yard. Marsh went yard. Harper went yard. You look at it and you say, okay, we know that the home run is still going to be a big part of who the Philadelphia Phillies are, and that shouldn't be unexpected. Another thing you saw today, I think that was beautiful as well on Sunday. You're listening to this on Monday, but I'm recording this Sunday evening, as I said earlier. You saw the depth of this Phillies team, and Edmundo Sosa looked good. He was banged up a little bit in the middle of the game, but continued to play. We will talk about that in our injury update later on in the episode. But, you look at that and you say, okay, Sosa looked really good as a depth piece behind Trea Turner. He had to play because of Trea Turner back spasms. Rafael Marchand looked capable behind the dish as a replacement for JT Realmuto, who fouled the ball off his foot in Saturday's game. Johan Rojas had some opportunities to get on base and did. early on in the season, which should give him a little bit of confidence. He played for Max Kepler, and well, he was in center. Brandon Marsh was in left for Max Kepler on Sunday, but Rojas got out there. He looked fine, looked solid defensively, gave you basically what you expect from Yohan Rojas. There wasn't anything too surprising from the Philadelphia Phillies first series of the year. And that's from a guy that has high expectations, right? I believe this is a 93-win ball club. I believe they can win the National League East. They should win the National League East. Like, I think that they've got a great opportunity to go back-to-back as division champions, and nothing on that has changed through the first weekend of the season, unless you're more worried about injuries than I am. And that's something that we're going to have a discussion on later on in the episode. But business as usual in Washington. Beating Washington is not hard, as Washingtonians would tell you it is, just to use that old meme that they used on the Philadelphia Phillies since that. The Phillies have just beaten the brakes off of them. So this is not the prove anything series. The next series is not the prove anything series, but then you get the Dodgers. So these are two appetizers to the main course. The first one was Bon Appetit. Now you come home. You've got the home opener on Monday, later on today from when you're watching this, to take on the Colorado Rockies. So coming up next, we're going to take a peek at what the Rockies did in their opening series, take a look at the pitching starter projections, and get an idea on if the Phillies can win another series to start out the year. We will talk about that coming up next as we continue today's episode of Locked On Phillies. All right, let's talk a little bit of FanDuel, because March Madness is here. The Elite Eight's going on, and, well, the Final Four is right around the corner. And FanDuel is giving you the chance to get in on the action like never before. Right now, new customers can get $200 in bonus bets when your first $5 bet wins. That's $200 extra bucks to use on everything, from buzzer beaters to, well, there aren't really Cinderella stories left, but anything you could think of that you want to bet on, FanDuel's got it. Even who's cutting down the nets at the end of it all. I mean, you look at it, and there's just so many top-tier teams still left in it. It's been chalky. So look at the best teams. Do you think Duke's going to cut down the nets? Do you think maybe, I don't know, Houston's going to cut down the nets? Take a look at those teams. Maybe Florida. Like, look at the one seeds at this point. That's where you're going to make your money, I think, at least. But if you think differently, make your wager on FanDuel. With tournament games happening all the time, there's always something exciting to bet on. The FanDuel app is simple to use, and when you win, you get paid instantly. No waiting around. So visit FanDuel.com and get in on the college hoops action all tournament long. Let's talk now about those Colorado Rockies, the Philadelphia Phillies' next opponent in the start of the 2025 regular season. The Phillies are going to play the Rockies Monday, Wednesday, Thursday. Kind of a weird schedule, right? That weird Tuesday off day. I guess that was built in there to give the Phillies a potential rain date in case their home opener gets rained out. The home opener is special for teams, just like opening day is for the sport of baseball. So it'll be very, very cool to see the Philadelphia Phillies open up their season at home. There's a new LED light display at Citizens Bank Park that I believe is sponsored by Xfinity. So you'll be able to see that when you go to the ballpark this year. It's like a home run display where they turn the lights off, and they just have like the flashing lights around the concourse and everything like that. That'll be very, very cool to see. Imagine someone goes yard against Colorado Rockies in game one. But you have an opportunity. And the Rockies are a lesser team than the Nationals, like significantly so. So you should go out here and you should win 2 out of 3 at least against the Rockies. Now, I don't know that I'm ready to put this into the sweep category yet, right? It feels early in the season, still working stuff out. Oh, by the way, Taijuan Walker's going to throw in this series. So that basically kills your chance of sweeping, I think. I don't think you're winning a Taijuan Walker start, but whatever the case may be, the Phillies have a great opportunity to take advantage of the Rockies in this series. They should be at worst 4-2 by the time they take on the Dodgers on Friday. So the pitching matchups between these two teams we'll talk about in just a second, but the Rockies opened up their season in Tampa Bay against the Rays, or I guess in wherever the Rays are playing right now. They're playing in someone's minor league stadium because the Trop still doesn't have a roof after the hurricane season. That crazy situation for them. But the Rays won game 1 and game 3 of that series. The Rockies took game 2 of that series. So the Rockies come in 1 and 2. The pitching matchups in the series with the Philadelphia Phillies, you're going to have Christopher Sanchez getting the ball for the home opener, deservedly so. He's earned that. German Marquez is going to be on the mound. for the Colorado Rockies to start off his 2025 season. Now, 2024, he didn't really do too much. I think it was injuries, really, for him. It was a situation where he was shut down for the season. 8 months ago is the date on that one. So he's coming off injuries. We'll see if he's ready to go in his first action of the year. But Christopher Sanchez is a significantly better pitcher. The big thing about Marquez, you get a righty in game one. The Phillies are always going to be better against right-handed pitchers. So advantage Phils in game one, advantage Phils in really all of these games. And then you start the month of April with game two of the series against the Colorado Rockies. There is rain in the forecast for Wednesday, for Thursday, for Friday, for Saturday, for Sunday. I really hope this week isn't just a complete washout. They may find windows to play in, but when you look past opening, or the home opener, I should say, it's going to be tough to get these games in. So you have that game on Monday, or I guess the day while you're listening to this, at 3:05 p.m. because it's the home opener. Then you go back to your regularly scheduled times. Our first night game of the year will come in this series in game two. 6:45 p.m. You have the Phillies taking on the Rockies, and the expected pitching matchups. You're going to have Kyle Freeland, a left-handed pitcher, and Zach Wheeler on the mound. So Wheeler actually is listed as the probable pitcher on the 2nd of April, which is interesting, right? You have the off day. You've had 2 off days. Wheeler's up, so they're going to actually skip the Taijuan Walker start according to ESPN there, but they're going to push him back a day after Wheeler, so he's going to get game 3, and he's going to pitch against Antonio Senzatella. Senzatella, a righty, back end of the Rockies rotation, so you're looking at a guy that I don't know. Maybe you get the opportunity to take advantage of him. I really would be lying to you if I said I knew too much about what he's bringing to the table. A 30-year-old who's in his 9th season, but he's not really a name that you know. And the reason you don't really know his name is because he hasn't really done anything crazy. Here are his ERAs from the past 4 seasons, we'll just go with. 24, 6.57 ERA. 23, 4.7 ERA. 22, 5.07 ERA. 2021, 4.42 ERA. He's not a good pitcher. So you've got him facing off against Taijuan Walker. That's a game where you'll look to take the over. Here's what I would expect from this series against the Colorado Rockies. I would expect the Philadelphia Phillies to win the first 2 games of the series, and then the third one's kind of a crapshoot. I would expect them to basically shut down the Rockies. This is a fun stat for you. You're going to want to keep an eye on this. If you're a betting man and you're looking at the over-under for the Rockies or for the games in these series, here's what the Rockies did against the Rays. Now, the Rays don't have like the worst pitching staff in baseball, but they've moved some of their better pitchers from years past. So you might be thinking about guys like Tyler Glasnow, who's in Los Angeles now. The Rays do not have a crazy pitching staff. The Rockies scored 2 runs on opening day, 2 runs in game 2 of the series, 4 runs on Sunday. While the Phillies went out and had, 19 runs in their series against the Washington Nationals, the Rockies scored a total of 8 runs in their series against the Tampa Bay Rays. And they're going to have to go Christopher Sanchez and Zach Wheeler to start out. I don't know how the Rockies hit this Phillies pitching staff. They're a bad team. They did not do well against lesser pitching, and now they've got 2 guys that could be considered aces in Christopher Sanchez and Zach Wheeler that they're going to have to face. You ready for the bold prediction? I think we see the first shutout of the season by the Philadelphia Phillies in this series in the first 2 games. That's what I think is going to happen there. And the fact that you get 2 righty pitchers as well means you should see a good balance of the lineup. Hopefully, Trea Turner and JT Realmuto are going to be good. We will talk about them in the injury updates portion of the podcast. But this it's too early in the season. If this series was being played at the end of April, this would probably be one where I say this could be the rare I predict a sweep. I'm not there yet because they're just starting the season off and guys are trying to get their footing still. And you're going to have weird days at the plate like you did today where you have a bunch of traffic on the bases, but you don't really cash anything in. I look at that and I say, okay, you should win 2 out of 3. You should win those games comfortably. The only way you lose game 3 is because Taijuan Walker's starting and he could get touched by any major league team. But the Phillies are going to be in a fine spot heading into their matchup with the Dodgers. Get through the series healthy, get through the series comfortably, and then when you get ready to play Los Angeles this coming weekend, and we'll have plenty of time to preview that series, that's one of the big series of the month, and it's our third series of the year. That will be a great measuring stick game. You're going to take significantly more out of that. The Dodgers already 5-0, by the way, than you do from a series with the Nationals or a series with the Rockies. So the competition level is coming. It's nice to get a couple of clean, easy games under your belt before you take on the Los Angeles Dodgers. And that's what the Phillies are getting against the Colorado Rockies. Coming up next, we're going to take a look at some injury updates. Now, not just the guys from spring training, but the Phils have had a couple of injury scares early on in the season. It's got me a little worried, I'll be honest with you. Why should we be a little worried? Well, just a reminder of this aging roster and what could go wrong if things don't go their way on the health front. It can change quick, and it almost did just one series into the year. So we will discuss that coming up as we wrap up today's episode of Locked On Phillies. So a little bit of an injury update for you when it comes to your fighting Phils. We talked about it earlier on in the episode, but a little bit more of a breakdown. So the first thing that we got was Trea Turner getting scratched ahead of the game Saturday, the second game of the series, second game of the year, already getting scratched for another back issue. We know that Ranger Suarez had back stiffness. That's why he's missing time. Now Trea Turner is dealing with back spasms. Now, per reports and what we've been hearing on that, he's been dealing with it since spring training. He started feeling it at the end of spring training. Now, it doesn't bother him as much when he's playing. It bothers him when he sits down or after. So I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, but just for clarification, it seems to bother him more when he's stationary. So maybe it's just something that he'll need to get treatment on, get like some heating pad, get what they call stim, which is the, I guess, minimal electric pulses. If you've ever had to go to physical therapy and they hook that thing up to your, I don't know, wherever was ailing you, and it kind of like zapped you or whatever. It doesn't actually feel like you're getting zapped, but it just like basically courses through your muscles and tendons and everything, and loosens everything up in there. Like maybe you'll have to get that treatment done. But he was scratched like last second before the second game of the year. That was terrifying. I'll tell you right now, if he goes down, well, then you're going to Mundo Sosa. And Mundo Sosa is a great player. Then who's your other infield depth? I guess Cody Clemens, but he's more of just a corner guy. And I don't really know what you do after that. Weston Wilson's not available. You'd have to go down to the minors. I guess you could bring up Christian Arroyo, but I don't know how ready he is. It would not be good if Trea Turner missed extended period of time, especially considering he's your leadoff hitter against lefties this year. You saw it today. They had to go with a weirder lineup because of that injury. So the hope is Trea Turner's good to go. Now, the assumption, well, I don't want to say the assumption is they'll be ready for the home opener. I will say that they're both going to be, him and JT Realmuto, the two guys not on the injured list in this injury update segment. They're going to be reevaluated ahead of the first game against the Rockies. They may both be in the lineup when it comes to the home opener, which would be nice for the fans who made their way out for the home opener. Anyone who's got tickets for that game, you're going to want to see the Stars. So I hope for your sake that they're available to play. I hope for the Phillies' sake they're available to play. But if they're already they scratched them, Trea missed 2 games, JT got hurt in game 2 and just skipped game 3, which, listen, you'd already won the series. Marchand is a capable backup. They're being cautious with that. That's the way they should be. It seems like it's nothing major with either of these guys. I worry more about Trea because if he's been dealing with it since spring training and it's starting to get worse the more he plays, well, that could be something that lands him on the injured list at some point. We will see. But right now, there's nothing major to worry about on that front. JT's injury, by the way, in game 2, he fouled the ball off of his foot. He stayed in for the at-bat, but then Marchand replaced him in the game. Now, the Phillies had already scored 9 runs or 10 runs or 11 runs by that point. I forget exactly what the score was when it happened. But part of that was just hey, we can get him a chance. We can rest him. We know that they're going to be taking JT Realmuto out more often this year, and that's what we wanted. So remember, when you see these lineups that don't have JT in them, you asked for this. We all agreed this was the right way to handle it. get him more time off his feet so that he's more ready for the postseason. You have Marshawn, not Stubbs. It'll take time to get used to because we assume when we see no JT Realmuto in the lineup, that catcher spot is just dead offensively. I don't think it will be as dead this year with Marshawn compared to Stubbs, but the scars of the past are going to keep making us think JT out. I'm annoyed by that. We'll get used to it, but he seems to be fine. Hopefully he'll be in the lineup for opening day as well. So nothing major, but think about it, right? In day 2 of the season, you already were out. Trea Turner was scratched before the game. JT got hurt in the game. In day 3, neither of them played. And you had Max Kepler getting a rest day. Like, you don't have that much depth on a major league roster. This ain't football where you got 3 or 4 backups at every position. Like, no, if guys go down, you're going to have to reach into the minors. And you've already got injuries with other guys too, with Weston Wilson, who's got an oblique injury, who's not close to returning. Ranger Suarez you're dealing with in your starting rotation, so God forbid anything happens to the pitching staff. Matt Straub's already had the shoulder impingement. Like, this is baseball. This is what other teams are dealing with. This is what the Phillies are dealing with, so it's something that's going to need to be managed. But anytime you see Rob Thomson make a decision that you may think is too conservative for, like, oh, why is he not trying to win a game in Washington? Why is Kepler? I know this is an argument I'm going to hear, so I'm just going to get ahead of it right here. Why did Kepler not play in the final game of the series against Washington? They've only played 2 games so far this year. They gave him an off day? Well, guess what? Max Kepler had injury issues last year. If he gets hurt this year, who's playing left field? Marsh, and then Rojas in center, and then the bottom of your lineup is going to be Marsh and Rojas. And listen, Brandon Marsh had a nice end to the series. He started to put some good swings on baseballs. He's going to be what he is, league average outfielder, right? That's what Brandon Marsh is right now. He doesn't stink. He's not an all-star. He's a league average outfielder, and that is just fine. But when you have him and Rojas, and let's say there's a lefty on the mound because Rojas just doesn't really hit against anybody, to be honest, you're going to have a tough time putting together at-bats at the bottom of the lineup. That's not ideal. So you got to protect some of these guys, but it's just a reminder of how quickly things can shift, how important health is, and why that should be as much of a focus as winning games early on in the season. Like in the month of April, get these guys stretched out. Spring training is a stretch out period, but at the same time, everyone's done this, right? You stretch before a workout. Maybe you stretch before a run. You do a light stretch, and then you start the actual workout or the actual run, and maybe something bothers you that you didn't catch while you were stretching. That's what the start of the regular season is. They did get stretched out, but game speed is different once the regular season begins. And you may have some of these early ailments. So far, the Phillies are dodging bullets, but that may not happen forever. And I'm just a little bit worried about, okay, we've already got back issues with 2 of our guys in Turner and Suarez. We've already got JT sitting more, which puts more pressure on Marshawn, who's been an injury-prone player in his development when he was in the minor leagues. I mean, you're 1 or 2 injuries away from being in real trouble. Let's hope that doesn't happen. Knock on wood for sure that does not happen. But that's why Rob Thomson is always very careful with the amount of time his guys play. And that is why we need to slow our roll on the, hey, why is this lineup looking the way it is on this day? Do they not care about winning this game? No, you know what the Phillies care about? They care about winning enough games to make the playoffs, maybe enough to win the division, and then winning enough to win the World Series. And without your starters, you're not doing that. So that's the reality of the season. So far, though, injury news is good. Turner should be fine. Realmuto should be fine. Suarez is working his way back. Weston Wilson we already knew about. Matt Strahm has looked fine. He should be, like, good to go. He doesn't look like he's got any ill effects of the shoulder impingement or the tearing of his fingernail from packing up his daughter's toys, leaving spring training, which, whatever, man. We're going to move past that because the season is rolling now. But Phillies got through the first series of the year. No major injuries. Won it. Move on. Nothing to be majorly concerned about. I know that's not the world's most exciting response to it, but when you play a team that you're supposed to beat and your goals are so much bigger than the first series of the year, that's kind of where you have to be at mentally. But mission accomplished. 1 of 1. Good to go for the Philadelphia Phillies when it comes to series. And they're going to accomplish that as well against the Rockies, I promise you. I'm telling you right now, this will be 2 series 1 to start the year. Coming up on tomorrow's episode, we're going to react to the home opener in game 1 of the series with the Colorado Rockies. Our first look at Christopher Sanchez, who a lot of people love as a dark horse Cy Young candidate. I can't wait to watch him pitch. That's going to be awesome today. I'm also very, very excited to see what the offense can do against a Colorado Rockies team that's not that good pitching or really doing anything. It'll just be good vibes to see the Phils back at Citizens Bank Park. So we'll recap all of that in tomorrow's episode and dive deeper into the rest of the series with the Rockies and really game 2 of the series as well. So we will talk to you on our next episode of Locked On Phillies. Thank you so much for joining us today. We are part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Please make sure you're rating, reviewing, subscribing to the YouTube, all that great stuff to really help us out here on Locked On Phillies, and it'll get you notifications so you don't miss any big news. That's all the great stuff that I'd love for you to do, but I appreciate you listening one way or another, and I'll talk to you tomorrow on our next episode.